Hello, test. So everyone in this room probably knows me during my semester and or in ACE lab. So I'm actually going to be talking about an externship that I went on during this last break. I went to Colorado State University. And before I get to that, I wanted to show you these beautiful animals because they're gorgeous. So this is my golden retriever, Noah Jordan, because every dog deserves a middle name, if you ask me. And then my island cat, that is Lily and Rose. So anyway, and yeah, my name is Lynlee. Cool. So a lot of people maybe don't know, but my interest lies in laboratory animal medicine. And most people have, I think, a misconception about what laboratory animal medicine is. Oh, you dealt with rats and mice all day. Actually, no. I think I only handled 5 mice that entire externship, honestly. Colorado State does a lot of large animals. So I think I want people to know that laboratory animal medicine is every animal. Because you can see in this picture that I pirated from Google, literally every animal you can think of is a lab animal. From large animals, small animals, birds, fish. It's a huge part of medicine, obviously. Pharmaceuticals. I mean, you name it. And so that's where my passion, my interest lies, is to protect these animals and to better one health. I mean, at its finest, is to better the animal-human medicine in general. And I think that's served through laboratory animal medicine. And anyway, so I'm the president of ACE Lab, which is, as you can see, American Society of Lab Animal Practitioners. And it's a great club. It's a small club. We get a lot of hands-on stuff. If you're interested in it, let me know. Sign you up. Okay. So that's my spiel about that. So Colorado. So a lot of people ask me, like, how did you get that externship? Like, that's so cool. I asked. I literally just sent an email and asked. And what had really happened was Dr. Thrall, in first semester, like, blew me away with her research, which she was doing. I want to research, like I do. And I talked to Dr. Thrall, and she made some emails. Those emails made emails, and that email was sent to me that said, hey, I'm the director of Colorado State University Lab Animal Facility. Any questions? And I said, yeah, my biggest question is, can I do an externship? And he said, sure. And he said, here's the dates I have. I said, well, I'm at Ross, and I have these dates. Sounds good, I'll make something up for you, just sounds good. Literally, it was that easy. And then I got on an airplane 2 semesters later, and I showed up. And I did some amazing stuff. Anyway, none of these pictures are mine. I pirated those as well. But this is the animal hospital there, the teaching hospital, which if you go to Colorado State for your clinical year, that's the hospital. Really nice. I worked in there maybe a couple times because they do have some lab animals in there. Specifically, they have a cat colony of cats that they've infected with certain things, and so we went to visit those cats. Anyway, and then we dealt with a lot of sheep. I'll get to that in a minute. Does anyone know what that animal is at the very, very top, right? That weird looking, you know what that is? No? It's a deer. No? It's called a muntjac deer. It's called a vampire deer. And they have a colony of vampire deer at Colorado State. Blew me away. I never had to put full protective gear on to go into a lab. So my resident was like, "Okay, here, let's go." And she didn't even tell me at all how to get dressed and get undressed. Needless to say, it was a disaster, and I contaminated the hallway with my shoes. Avery's laughing because she knows me. It was a sight to be seen. So yeah, listening and following directions is key because these deer are infected with, I'm not exactly sure what, but it's something, some sort of prion. And they don't know they're researching it, they don't know. So anyway, these little deer are actually really tiny. They're literally this big, and they're super nervous. And so, but they love animal cookies, those little, I'm feeding them deer-shaped animal cookies. It was the craziest thing. Anyway, that was super cool. Just to show you lab animal, it's huge. Okay, so that's me. I'm so cool. Okay, so my host that I stayed with, I'm emailing him, and he's like, okay, you know, I live a mile from school. I'm like, great, like, how do I get there every day? I have a bicycle. I'm in my 30s, guys. I have not been on a bicycle since I was a child. So here I am, literally bicycling to school every day, and it was actually kind of cool. But Colorado is like, everyone's like so hippy-dippy. I felt like I was back in LA. Like, everyone's like bicycle friendly and green and vegetables. And I loved it. And they have these bicycle routes like everywhere. And it's literally like bicycle route to CSU this way. I managed to get lost, yes. That was the first day, and that's fine. But anyway, these are all my pictures I took. It's beautiful. It's so nice there. Oh, I loved it. It was beautiful. But yeah, the bike routes, I just wanted to show you guys that I was, you know, cool and bicycling. Okay. So Colorado is really big with like orthopedic stuff. I don't know if you probably didn't know that, but probably any surgical device that was orthopedic has more than likely been tested in these sheep prior to being implanted in people. This is preclinical trial stuff that they were doing. So I actually did a lot of work with sheep. Literally the first day of my externship, my resident, who actually is a Ross grad, so that's a funny story. So I get there, and there's another girl that was an extern with me that time, and she's in her clinical year from, I think, Ohio State. And so the resident says, well, what year are you? To me. I said, I don't know. What do you mean you don't know what year you're in? I'm like, well, I'm from Ross. And she was, I'm a Rossie. Oh my God, what semester? I said, I'm going into 4th, right? Yeah, I was going into 4th. And she's like, oh, okay, so you're like 2nd this year. She goes, okay, well, you don't really know too much, but oh, you know how to do sutures really good, huh? And I'm like, well, yeah. And the other girls were like, sutures? She's only in 2nd year. What does she know? My Ross resident was like, oh, no. She can do a suture better than you. You're in clinic. So, and it was, I don't know, it was just kind of cool. Like, she was a Rossie, so she knew, like, the experience of the program, and she took me under her wing. So then, that same day, I go to rounds with them, look at the cases, you know, cat diarrhea. I mean, any case you can think of that happens in small animal clinic, it happens there, too, with their animals. Literally, in lab animal medicine, I think that's the one thing I wish people knew, is that these animals that are in the lab are so well taken care of. I mean, so well taken care of. They're not being tortured. That's not happening. No, it's not happening. This cat doesn't look right, the veterinarian goes and sees it. The dog is, I don't know, limpy, the doctor goes and sees it. I mean, it's this medicine is top-notch medicine. I love it. I love being in the lab. So anyway, that same day, she said, okay, you know, we do our rounds, blah, 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 cool. Let's go to the sheep. Let's go to the sheep. So the other facility is like way over there. I'm like, so we get in the car and we go. I have no idea. I'm dressed in like professional wear because I don't know what we're doing. She's like, oh yeah, change out of that, put this jumpsuit, these boots, okay, let's go. So we go to the sheep, and they're outside. And she's like, okay, what's wrong with these sheep? Yeah, I don't know. All right, go ahead and do a physical exam here. Here's my stethoscope. Go. I'm like, what? I have no idea how to do a sheep physical exam, woman. Now I do. Adri's like, not really, but that's fine because she's with me that time. Okay. So I'm like, fine. So we go. I do the sheep physical exam. I'm like, yeah, sounds good. It's good. No idea what I'm doing. She's like, come here. She showed me how to flip the sheep. She showed me the feed, the rumen, you freaking name it. She showed me everything. And I was very grateful because I've never flipped a sheep in my entire life until that day. That was fun. So then the fact of the matter is, what was wrong with these sheep? Well, a lot of them have implants. A lot of them have cervical, they have plates, they have pins, they have artificial elbows, knees, feet, heads, whatever, everything. Anything you can think of that they do, orthopedic, spine, soft tissue, whatever. And these sheep have been implanted with these things to see how they work. And then they go to necropsy, and then they look and say, oh, well, that needs to be tweaked. And then it goes to the engineers, and then they tweak it, fix it, and then it goes into your body. It's amazing, actually. So yeah, we worked with the sheep a lot. And that was a lot of fun and very rewarding. And then I'll tell you this story too. So then my resident says, okay, Tuesday, you're going to scrub in for surgeries with the doctors over at the sheep unit. What? Yeah, we're gonna go there the whole day. They feed you lunch, and it's super cool. You're gonna start at 6 a.m. and end at 6 p.m. It'll be great. Sounds good. So I get there, and we put the sheep on the trailer, move the sheep over here into this little holding area right here. You can see their little pen for the trailer. And then the tech in charge hands me this it's like some kind of torture device. I don't know. It's like a restraint, like a 4-point restraint. Okay, go ahead and put that on the sheep. I mean, lady, come on. I don't know how to do that. Okay, we'll do it. Let's go. And yeah, I restrained a sheep in some weird 4-point contraption. That was cool. We're all trying them. And we moved the sheep onto these little wheelbarrows. But each one has like a cool name, like U-Haul. U-Haul. Each one had like a super cool name, and it was just so cute. Anyway, because they do this every day, all day. They do surgeries all day with these sheep. Okay. So 6 surgeries that day. They said, okay, well, you're the vet student, so you should know how. Go ahead and put a catheter in this thing. Someone hold off. They're like, no. The ear. I mean, what? Well, how do you know which one is a vein and an artery? We're like, look, vein, artery. I'm like, I don't. Anyway, it was it's a lot of blood, guys. I didn't know how to do it very well at first. Yeah, I blew the vein. Okay, I did fine. Got it out of me. I did. I blew the vein. Fine. And then the tech, who knows what he's doing, was like, of course, right? Got the artery though, so I was super impressed with myself. He's like, yeah, of course you did. It's the big one. I'm like, well, I got it though, right? So anyway, a lot of experiences, stuff I've never done before, but I did, it was cool. So then we transferred the sheep to the surgical suite, drop it off, and I'm like, okay, I'm all done. He's like, no, you're gonna scrub in. Who, me? Yeah, you're gonna scrub in. I don't know how to scrub in. Okay, so the tech takes me over there, and she teaches me, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, okay, fine. Scrub in, that was super cool, and he let me do some sutures, let me do a staple, let me, get in there with my hands and watching him, put the plates in, and it was just, I could see that I was like, I'm visualizing the spine, like, it just blew my mind. It was super cool. And then I called Stephanie, and I'm like, Steph, guess what I did? And it was super cool. Oh, sorry. Okay, moving on. So then, this is what actually was the best part for me. Like I said, love to research. So, the day I got there, they said, well, we're going to put you on this study. This is going to be your study. That's what you're going to do. Okay. My resident said, okay, I'm going to have you, what do you know about rabbits? No. Okay. Go research rabbits and come back to me. Okay, fine. All right, here's part of the study. I want you to write the intro. Okay, I'll write the intro. Gave it to him, submitted it, made corrections, sent it back. Cool. I did a lot of research I literally spent so much time in the library, researching. And what we were doing was evaluating sustained-release meloxicam in a rabbit inflammatory model. Whoa. Why? Well, because a lot of times when, exotics or I would say more exotics, or pocket pet medicine, there's no specific formulary that says, rabbit, guinea pig, mouse, right? All of that really comes from research, from studies. So this study is kind of cool because it was a study for lab animals, right? Because normally a lot of studies are for the betterment of people, right? Like, I'm testing this human drug on this animal to see what effects it is. In this case, this was specifically to better animals. And I thought that was super interesting. And that was our study aid, was to develop an inflammatory model. Back up. So, rabbits and mice and rats, specifically rats, have been used as inflammatory models, right, in the past. But the problem is they inject an inflammatory agent. In our case, we used something called carrageenan, which is actually derived from algae, and it's actually in food. If you look at labels and you see carrageenan, it's in food. And it's purportedly an inflammatory agent into the GI tract, what they said. Anyway, we made it and then we injected it into the ear. Why the ear? Well, we chose the ear because a lot of times in rats, they injected it into their foot. And the problem is, what do rats do? Well, they walk on their feet, right? So now we're thinking, well, was the inflammation due to them walking and putting pressure, or is it due to the carrageenan, right? So we were like, well, but there's no inflammatory models of rabbits. That was like our aim. We wanted to be the first to develop an inflammatory model with the rabbit, because rabbits are now being used a lot for research, especially with pain meds and such. And so that's what we did. And then we used meloxicam because there's no published data studies that say meloxicam can work, and here's the dosages. And that's basically what we aimed to do. And it was pretty cool. It's kind of hard to tell, but this is how you wrap up a rabbit. That's my arms there, just kind of hanging onto the guy. And then this little doodad character here is called a Solido. I'm not going to say it right. It's a little device that basically has a little rubber tip, and they've already been injected with the carrageenan. And what we were doing was we were inflicting quote-unquote pain, but like so minimal that as soon as they flinched, then we knew that was their threshold. And we marked it, and the next day we did the same thing, and the next day we did the same thing to see where their inflammation started and ended. That's basically in relation to when we gave them meloxicam. And that's kind of weird, but that's what we did. And anyway, we're going to be publishing, and that's super cool, man. My name's going to go on this awesome paper. That was really great. I think that was my last slide. Yeah. So anyway, long and the short, I know research bores a lot of people, but it's my passion. And lab animals are absolutely my passion. And that's what I'm going to say. Any questions, comments, concerns? Rotten tomatoes? Mackenzie?
What would you say is the best way to kind of defeat the thoughts that the misconceptions that people have about lab animals? Like, what do you think is the best way? Because it doesn't seem like there's a lot of information except for being there personally, right? There's not like a lot of fight back to like groups like PETA and all those things who really say that lab animal research is this terrible thing. Like, what do you think is the best way to kind of counteract that?
Education. People are ill-informed because they have my opinion, they have preconceived notions about something. And they're wrong because dairy farms, right? You see commercials all the time, not commercials, but, breaking news on Channel 2, cow is beaten, as it's going in the milking parlor. I mean, that can be construed in so many ways, right? There's 3 sides to every story. His side, her side, and the truth. And I feel like with education, see, the thing is, this study had to go through months before I even got there of having it written up, having IUCOOK approve it, having it go back and forth. I mean, I sat through this IUCOOK meeting and it took about 4 hours or something. I mean, they were nitpicking everything. They were nitpicking. I think that the grams on the inflammatory med, it needs to be, a little bit higher, a little bit lower. I think your N number is too low. I think you should send that to statistics to get reevaluated. They are really taking care of these animals to the point where they're arguing over some moot point because they are literally protecting them. And those meetings are open to the public. And I don't think people know that because I think if people went to those IUCOOK meetings and went and actually sought the real information, they would see that these lab animals are the pillars of science. And that without them, there's no penicillin. There's no asthma drug. I don't know. There's no diabetes medication. You know what I mean? I feel that there has to be a suffering of a few for the greater all. And that is what I'm dedicating my career, my life to, is to protect these animals, to protect you. So yeah, I think education is to just educate people, ask the hard questions like, when will this study be terminated? Because we did part of being a lab animal veterinarian is to review protocols that come. and you have to review them with a fine-tooth comb. It's exactly that. Is this the right number of animals? Is this the right species? Why are we doing this? And ask those hard questions. And that's part of the job of the lab animal vet, not only just protecting the animal in the study, but before they even get to the study. And it's a huge part of it. There's a lot of paper pushing, I think, a lot that I didn't realize prior to going into my externship. So that was an eye-opener, too. Yeah.
So I have like a 2-in-1 question. Sure. So, did they choose to use meloxicam because it's like the old for anti-inflammatories in practice where someone brings a pet, like a pocket pet,
right?
That's the person you'll think of.
Yeah.
And also, why is sustained release and not?
So, the Colorado State has done previous studies that we were citing as they proved that meloxicam in general was fine, but they think sustained release would be better because of previous studies with rats. There hadn't been any studies with rabbits, and that was our aim, was to use the rabbit model specifically because we were trying to improve rabbit medicine. And so we were going off previous studies. What was the second one? Why meloxicam in general? So actually that was what my question was to my resident. So why are we using meloxicam? Because I just got at a farm, and I'm like, there's like a ton of ensigns. And the reason is because it has been proven to be one of the best, specifically for rabbits because of their hindgut fermentation. So I learned a lot about their digestive tract that I never knew. And this was actually, meloxicam doesn't disrupt their flora. And so their cicatrophs and all that stuff, their night feces and whatever, wasn't affected. And that's a huge plus, especially for hindgut fermenters. Hindgut, is that right? Yeah. Yeah, so that's what that was my question too. Any stuff.
How many rabbits were in your study? Like, how many do you normally have for a research basis to have a significant amount?
So we had 6 in ours, and they were all females. You can kind of tell from the picture. You can tell it's a female. They have certain anatomy. But anyway, we only had 6, and I asked the same question. I'm like, why do we only have 6? But we were only using 4 as our actual models, and we were using 2 as controls. So the 2 that were controls were getting the we call it ear pinch. They were getting the little tool and we were recording it, but they did not receive any carrageenan and any meloxicam. Any relief is the relief to the inflammation. They were just controls. But we only used 6. And this will more than likely be repeated because of that reason. But I believe the reason that 6 was the number for this was because, again, previous studies had said, 6 was enough to get a nice p-value number to say, hey, this is effective or this is ineffective. That's the reason. And they actually had them, I wasn't there for this, but they had them in the facility for a while, and they were used to be free roaming, because that's how rabbits like to be housed. Apparently, used to be on the floor and free roaming together as a group. And these ones were actually, a few weeks before we did the study, they then put each one into individual housing. And they didn't like that. One of them was just like, I'm not going to eat. He's not going to. And then they gave them, rescue food, which I think we learned about nutrition, that little, I whispered to you, Courtney, I was like, ooh, that stuff smells like apples. It's like some rescue food, they call it, and I don't know, rabbits love it. It smells really tasty, and they eat it. And so, that was a divergent question, but anyway. So yes, that previous studies.
What do they interpret from the study? Because you said that it's being published. Does that mean that they're finished with this particular part of the study? Do you know what they...
So my resident that I was working with, his name is Brian, he's a first-year resident, and he and I were working together on it, and he presented this at an ALAP conference, which is like Lab Animal Practitioner Conference, which I wanted to go to, but Ross. And he presented it there, and I haven't heard back from him since about it, but it is supposed to be published. I don't know if he needs to do the study again, or if he's happy with his results, our results. I'm not sure. So I'm kind of like in that weird waiting frame. Yeah, I don't know. I loved it there. I loved what they were doing. I learned so much, and I think I went at the right time in my curriculum, where I had just gotten done with farm. I had an idea of what I was doing, what I was looking at, and when we went on rounds, and he would ask would ask questions like, oh, what's X, Y, and Z? And I was actually able to answer them based on, knowledge that I had learned. And it was so rewarding to get out of the rigmarole of just taking exams and being like, well, I passed it. What did I learn though? Well, I learned this. I was able to repeat it and understand it and take from it so much. And it's one thing I wish people would do is to do externships. And how do you get them? You just ask. I literally asked, and then the same thing, got another externship. I literally emailed the director of the lab that I want to work at when I'm done with school. I emailed him and said, can I do an externship? And he said, sure. Sent me to his, whoever, does student externships, and he offered me a week externship over this next break. Because I asked. Because I want to work there as my career, and if I can get my foot in that door, it opens everything. It's not about what, it's about who you know, frankly. You can talk to people, you can have a conversation. It's going to open so many doors. So, that's that. Thank you for listening to me ramble